Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our 3-day Metals and Mining Conference. Our next presentation is from Kodiak Copper. Please note you can submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for a one-on-one meeting by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Claudia Turnquist, President and Chief Executive Officer of Kodiak Copper, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol KDKCF, and on the TSXV under the symbol KDK. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for dialing in. Kodiak Copper is a copper exploration company focused on our MPD project in British Columbia, Canada. We have been drilling there for several years now, and this year are coming up on a very important milestone. So very exciting and important year for our company, and I will tell you more about this in this presentation. Please keep in mind that I will be making forward-looking statements in this presentation. I will start out with a couple of words about the copper market in more general. Copper demand is driven by a number of sectors that are growing very rapidly: the energy transition, electrification, technology, AI. Lots of copper demand from these sectors on the horizon, because these sectors, many of the technologies are much more copper intensive than the technologies they replace. So no doubt we'll see strong copper demand for the years, if not decades to come. But if you look at the opposite side of the medal, the supply picture, that is a very different story. The graph here on the left shows the supply-demand forecast from the Financial Times. There are many others that are quite similar. All of them show a deficit opening up in the years to come. I don't think I've seen a single market commentator who predicts a surplus. And in many cases, the deficit predicted is large. The Financial Times here has a deficit of over 10 million tons. So that's multiple big mines that would be required to fill that deficit. And why is everybody predicting a deficit in the market? The key explanation is shown in the chart on the right, which shows copper discoveries in the last 30 years. And if you look at these orange bars, the trend is very clear. It's a very steep downward trend. And in particular, in the last 10 years, there have not been many copper discoveries at all. There has not been a single big copper discovery. So given that it takes 20 years on average to build a copper mine from discovery to production, we know already now, with nothing discovered in the last 10 years, there will not be a new big mine in the next 10 years. So new discoveries are very much needed, and that's exactly the business Kodiak is in. Couple of words about the people behind the company. The founder and chairman of Kodiak is Chris Taylor, whom many of you, I'm sure, know. He had a major discovery success with our sister company, Great Bear, which was sold a couple of years ago and returned $2 billion to shareholders. So a really big success for Chris. Chris is a geologist, very creative, very out-of-the-box thinking. And that was a big part of Great Bear's success and is also a big part of Kodiak's success. Myself, my background is more the financial commercial side of things. I've been in resources for over 2 decades now, almost 10 years with a major, with Rio Tinto. And my roles and my experience are in business development, business evaluation, M&A. So very complementary with what Chris brings to the company. He very much leads the geological, technical side of things. I'm the business and capital market side of things. John Roberts is also on this slide. He is a very successful entrepreneur in the mining and resources sector, has been around for many decades. I'm sure many of you know his names and his successes in the past. And John is the principal of the Discovery Group of companies that Kodiak is part of. Discovery is essentially a loose alliance of companies, so all independent public companies, but we all work out of the same office. And what that means is there is just a lot of sharing of expertise, industry contacts, relationships, technical expertise. So it's a really, really good network. And most importantly, Discovery Group has been around for many years, for almost 2 decades, had many successes, over $2.6 billion returned to shareholders by companies in the group. And so it just has a lot of credibility and a good name. And many investors really like the fact that Kodiak is part of a strong group, and it gives them confidence that the companies in the group are good companies, well managed, with solid projects. So I very much believe that being part of Discovery makes Kodiak a stronger company. So this was the overview of the corporate side, if you will. I will now speak now more about our project, MPD. And to start, I have a video that gives an overview and a bit of a visual impression.
Kodiak Copper is located in British Columbia's prolific copper belt known as the Quesnel Trough, which runs through the south of the province. Kodiak has caught the market's attention with a new copper-gold discovery at its MPD project.
MPD is very accessible. It's a 3 hours drive from Vancouver near the towns of Merritt and Princeton. Infrastructure and accessibility is obviously very important for economic potential and future development. What's great about the MPD project is its location. We are here in southern BC, where you can work year-round, and in a very established mining area. There are a number of large mines nearby, for example, Copper Mountain, or also Highland Valley, New Afton. So it's a very established mining area, and everything you need for an exploration project is right at our fingertips, which makes our work very cost-effective.
One of the things I noticed when we were reviewing the MPD project initially was the presence of copper oxides over many kilometers on surface. So what it indicated was that we were sitting on top of a major porphyry system, and certainly the right type of rocks that indicated that there could be a major discovery to be made. This project has the potential to host a major copper porphyry discovery. And of course, with the drilling that we've done recently, we've shown that that's the case. Now, on initial review of this project, what was really impressive is that we had over 100 drill holes over 10 kilometers, and all of these holes have copper in them. And when we're looking at the rock, we saw the right types of rocks and the right types of features that indicated we could be sitting on top of a major copper system.
The MPD project was drilled historically since the 60s, so for over 50 years. And most of this historic drilling was very shallow, almost all only down to between 100 and 200 meters. And that is where we saw the opportunity. So we drilled deeper. We drilled down to over 800 meters. And that's where we got our first discovery hole, right here at this location. It was a hole that was mineralized top to bottom and had in the middle a very nice high-grade zone. That was the first time that we saw that in this large porphyry system there are higher grade zones present.
This is some of the best looking drill core that has been drilled in this part of British Columbia. Now we're located here, we're in Merritt, and that means that in all the areas around us we have copper mines in both directions. What you typically see in this region is about 1/3 of the grade. The grade that we've drilled here on the copper and the gold side is 3 or 4 times higher than many of the mines in this area. The types of alteration that we see, the potassic feldspar alteration, the silicification, the presence of chalcopyrite, the presence of bornite, these are all indicative features of a strongly mineralized copper center.
We had a great start and made a high-grade discovery in our maiden drill program, the Gate Zone. Teck Resources then invested, became Kodiak's largest shareholder, which is of course a great vote of confidence. With several successful drill campaigns since then, we have shown that the Gate Zone is a large, high-grade porphyry center with great continuity. And we've also shown that the MPD property holds several other kilometer-scale zones of mineralization, often starting right from surface and with significant high-grade zones. MPD has all the hallmarks of a property that has the potential to become a major mine in the future. There's lots more opportunities to be unlocked. It will be an exciting time for Kodiak going forward.
So this was the very quick overview. Let me dive a little bit deeper. This map shows where MPD is located, and I can't highlight enough what an important advantage that is. We are in an existing mining district between 2 large copper mines, and that makes all the difference because all the infrastructure is right there. The project is very accessible. We are in southern British Columbia. There are highways, there are electricity lines, all the infrastructure there. There's a workforce. And that just means our exploration is very cost effective. And our exploration costs are among the lowest in Canada. That's a big advantage now. It will be even a bigger advantage in the future when it comes to building and operating a mine. It is a whole lot easier and cheaper to do so in an existing mining district than it is in a remote location where many other copper projects are located. Another important point to highlight is we have consolidated the land to create a project with critical mass. You see on this map the various pieces of land that we have put together over the span of the last 6 years, highlighted in different colors. Some of these claim packages have significant historic exploration on them. In total, we had almost 500 drill holes and 66,000 meters of drilling on our ground before we started working. That gave us, of course, a very big head start. And it would have cost us some $20, $30, $40 million to replicate this work. So lots of historic exploration and lots of proven copper and gold already. And you might ask, why did nobody else before us make this a success? There were multiple different operators over a span of decades who did all this work. And the reason really comes down to critical mass. All of the previous exploration was done on small land packages, and nobody ever had critical mass to really have enough mineralization to show the potential that this really could become a mine. And by putting all those land claims together and creating this critical mass, that was really the first step to Kodiak's success, an important step in Kodiak's success. Over the last 6 years, not only have we consolidated ground, we have also drilled a lot. In total, 85,000 meters, so 6 years of big systematic drill programs. And I won't take you through all the details here, but important to highlight, we discovered and drilled and outlined multiple mineralized zones, large mineralized zones on the property. And this map shows where we are now. We have 7 large substantial mineralized zones. That's the zones that are labeled on the map in the left. Sorry, on the right. There is a cluster in the north with Ketchum, Gate Prime, Dillard, and Man. You see the yellow dots on the map, which show the northern cluster of mineralized zones. And then we have another cluster in the south with added west and the south mid zone. So in total, 7 mineralized zones. We can see some real growth potential and size potential now. Importantly, several of these zones have significant high-grade mineralization. We have mineralization right from surface, so everything you want to see. And what's important also to highlight is that over and above those 7 zones that we have now outlined already, there are still, at current count, more than 20 additional targets. That's the smaller dots on the map. That's partly targets that have already been historically drilled. So we know already there is copper and gold, partly new targets, but also important to keep in mind, lots more exploration upside over and above those 7 zones that we've outlined already. Now, when I said at the start, we have an important milestone and catalyst coming up this year. That is our maiden resource estimate, for which we will get the first results already very soon, within a month or so. And the reason why this is a very important milestone for our company is that we have now drilled for 6 years and putting out a resource estimate that's really taking all we have and putting a number on it. How much mineralization do we have, and what is the grade of that mineralization? And so that's really a culmination of 6 years of work and should be a very important catalyst also for our share price, because really at this stage, it's very, very hard for our shareholders and for the market to understand and to see what we actually have. We had 6 years of drill results, and how much that now actually is, whether this could have the potential to be economic, what the average grade is, that's hard to say for anyone looking at us, for our shareholders. And that's really what the mineral resource estimate will crystallize. It will show the size and the potential of the project. As I said, the first results will come soon. Within a matter of weeks, we will bring out in the second quarter, so June, a resource estimate for 4 out of the 7 zones. And then for the remaining 3 zones, we will do summer drilling this summer and then add the resource, put the resource estimate together in the autumn. So by the autumn, we will have the complete resource estimate for the entire project, maiden resource estimate. And very important to keep in mind that this is a maiden resource in the true sense of the word, and that all of these zones, 7 zones that will be included in the resource, have still plenty of potential to be expanded. They are all open, and most of them in multiple directions. But very important and exciting milestone for our company, the maiden resource estimate, and the first results already very soon. The reason I'm saying it's an important catalyst also for our share price is simply that at this stage, there is a large valuation gap between Kodiak and our more advanced peers who already have a resource estimate out, or PEA. And you can see here our market cap of approximately somewhere between 35 and 40 million. And some comparable companies who also have copper, gold, porphyry projects in North America and are further advanced. For example, Faraday Copper, North Isle, or Copper Fox. Those three companies, they trade between $135 million and $189 million currently. So a whole lot more than Kodiak's 35 million or 39 million. And the company on the right, GT Gold, that is a company that made a copper discovery just like we did in British Columbia and was taken over a couple of years ago by a major. That company was called GT Gold, and they were taken over by Newmont for just under $500 million at a valuation of just under $500 million. So major success. And that's really what we are aspiring to with Kodiak. And as this chart demonstrates very clearly, there is a big valuation gap between us and the companies that are already further advanced. And the resource will be a catalyst really to close that valuation gap. So very important year for our company. Here are our milestones over the year. First quarter, we've been very busy. We've announced that we are working on a mineral resource. We have started a metallurgy program, and we also closed the financing and gained a major new institutional investor who took a 9.9 stake. And the milestones coming up, we will very soon in May have the next news event, which will be our metallurgy results. And then highlighted in orange, that is really the most important catalyst coming up, our mineral resource, which we expect in June, the first part of it. And also in June, we'll start this year's exploration program and we'll announce the targets and the work for this year in more detail. Then further along in the year, from Q3 onwards, we will have exploration results. And in Q4, we expect the second part of our resource. So lots of news flow, a very busy year for Kodiak. And last but not least, our capital structure. Couple of important points to highlight. We are a tightly held company. You can see here our shares outstanding, just under 86 million shares. Our cash position at this time, around $6 million, which means we are fully financed for the entire year and for the work we have planned. That's, of course, a great position to be in. We have lots of news flow coming, important catalysts coming, and are fully financed for the entire year. In the pie chart on the right, you see our share structure. Our two largest shareholders are Teck Resources, who invested after our initial discovery and has invested several times since, so very supportive shareholder. And just recently, we gained Conwave, a very well-regarded and well-established European resource fund, as a major shareholder as well. We have one independent bank covering us, that's Cormark. So those analyst reports are available if you're looking for them. And at the bottom, you see our share price. As I said, I believe this year the resource will be a very important catalyst, and there's a good chance for us that we'll see a very positive year for our shareholders, and that will end the year on a much higher share price than what we are now. So I'm very excited for the milestones and the year to come, and very confident this will be a good year for Kodiak shareholders. So that brings me to the end of my formal presentation. And let me now look at questions, and I can see there are many questions from the audience. Thank you for those. And let me skim through them. When do you expect your resource estimates is the first one. We will, as I mentioned, come out with the first part of the resource already very soon in June, so in a matter of weeks, coming up very quickly. Those will be the 4 northern zones and part 1 of our resource, and I believe this will give already a good sense of what the size potential of the resource will be. And then after some more drilling on the other zones, the second part of the resource will come in the second part of the year. Another question here, how big do you think the resource is going to be? Well, we'll know that exactly as and when we come out with the resource in a month's time. But what I can say at this stage is the fact that we have announced that we will come out with a mineral resource signals that we are confident that we have a mineral that has the size and the characteristics to show that MPD has the potential to become a major mine, which has always been our vision for the project. And just in terms of size and grades required, if you look at comparable companies, the companies that I just mentioned before, North Isle or Copper Fox or Faraday Copper, then I would say that sort of gives a range of what you need to be successful. And I would say several 100 million tons of mineralization is what's required for a maiden resource to be comparable to what's out there in the market. And the grades you see with comparable companies are anywhere between, for open pit resources, between 0.3 and 0.4 copper equivalent. So that gives a bit of a range of what successful companies have and what you can expect from Kodiak. Another question here is, are you going to take this into production or sell it? That's a very good question. And the answer is the latter. I don't think, as much as I would like to take the project into production and build a mine, I don't think Kodiak will be the company to do so, because around the world, I don't think there is a single copper porphyry mine that has been built or is run by the junior who did the exploration. What you see typically in the industry is that the big companies, they don't do much exploration. They let the juniors do the exploration, de-risk the project, and once the junior has had some exploration success, has made discoveries, has shown a certain size potential, then majors come and acquire the juniors, just that as they did with GT Gold, with the peer company I mentioned previously. And the reason we, Kodiak, like porphyry projects is that they are big projects. The porphyry mines, copper porphyry mines, are mines that cost billions to build and produce for many decades. So they are big, and the price can be big, as it was for GT Gold, who got taken out at a valuation of $500 million. One more question here at the top. Is Teck just a passive shareholder? Teck has been a very supportive shareholder over the years. They have invested, as I mentioned, several times. They don't have a board seat or any committee seats or anything of that kind, but we have been supported by them multiple times. They have been to site, have given us their input. There has been discussions with them, and it's certainly very helpful because obviously they have a mine right next door to us, know the area intimately. And so, yeah, it's been a very fruitful cooperation. And I'm just looking at the time. I think that brings us to the end of this presentation. There are still more questions. I'm sorry I couldn't answer all. If you do have a question I wasn't able to answer it, please do reach out to us. Our contact details are on our website, and we're always happy to talk further or answer your emails. Thank you very much for listening in to this presentation. Thank you.